Hey guys, and welcome back to Generic Travels. I am Eric No Money, No Honey Peterson, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to be taking on my motorcycle trip going down south from Minnesota. As you can see right here, I am in the backyard of my mother's house. She has a beautiful landscaped backyard where I'm going to show you all of the things needed for a long motorcycle trip. Alright guys, now let's start with the camping portion. Camping is a pretty essential part of doing a long distance motorcycle trip in order to take advantage of the nature that is available on the trip, on the route, on the places you're going to be visiting, national parks, state parks, whatever it is. And it is a great way to connect with nature, save money, and not spend $100, $50 per night on a hotel. So, starting out with the basics, you need obviously a sleeping bag. I have my sleeping bag I bought on Amazon for $15, a very cheap way to get into the campsites, and a sleeping mat. This is passed along by my parents to me for this trip. I have my pump, which is used of course to pump up my sleeping mat when I get to each location. Alright, there is going to be a tent on every camping trip of course, and I have this retro camping tent that was also bestowed to me by my family. With your mobile stovetop in place, let's boil up some water and let's get our water ready to make some coffee. Here I have some Wide Awake coffee that I bought, and this is a mobile coffee filter, very small, very collapsible, which is great for this trip. I also have some mate, which is with a mate gourd inside, and the mate straw, so that I can quickly whip up some boiling water and drink some tea to wake myself up. Also, for some last minute fortification, right? I want to have some protein powder, some other stuff just to mix with water and to have that as a nice little snack. Also, when you're finished making your drinks, you can sit down and have some entertainment, right? I have a little Kindle that will be good for reading some books and keeping myself busy when I don't feel like running around and checking out nature on the campsite. As well as I'm going to bring along my ukulele, which I've been a musician my entire life, so this is something I wanted to do for this trip specifically. I love playing music and traveling around the world for these past 10 years or so that I've been traveling. I've brought my guitar for most of it, and I really enjoy having something to play. This is a nice compact instrument and it's good to bring along. As well as, going back to the camping gear, I have this trusty headlamp, which is perfectly placed on my forehead so that I can get stuff done in the dark or when it's not quite so bright out if I arrive to a campsite late. Now let's move on to what's very important, our daily toiletries, right? I have 2 bags that are full of things that I know I will need and that I've been using for years as I have been traveling and living abroad and on the road a lot. Of course, we have our toothpaste and toothbrush, very essential, number 1, right? Shampoo and some soap. Obviously, you will need these are the basics. Everyone thinks of them. Some cologne, just in case you want to smell nice from time to time. Of course, deodorant, so you don't make people die and smell you and want to run away every time they see you. Some floss for some good dental hygiene. A couple brushes for your hair, right? I want my hair to be brushed up from time to time. Don't want that frizzy hair exploding into an afro every day. And we have some extra medicine here. Repellent. Who likes getting eaten by mosquitoes with an extra backpack? A small, very lightweight backpack to throw all your daily toiletries and daily things in that you can bring from your bike to your tent and to use on a daily basis. Moving on to what we're going to need in terms of taking care of the fuzz, the law, making sure that you have the documents necessary for your trip. Of course, you're going to need a simple wallet in order to carry your credit cards, your cash, your ID, right? So I have mine set up, a real small one. I don't like big wallets because I think they take too much space up in your pants and it's just too uncomfortable when traveling. Now I have a secondary wallet which I have some extra cash from different countries that I've been living in recently, as well as some extra cards, and it's always good to have an extra wallet with all of your cards. I never use my cards when I'm abroad, specifically outside the US. I leave my cards always in my secondary wallet and only carry cash in my primary wallet. So this is going to be my secondary wallet, which I'll keep my cash in, And also I'll be storing some of the foreign cash and cards while I do my motorcycle trip. I'm going to be crossing the border to go to Mexico not long from now, probably middle of September, who knows how long, early, middle, or late September. This passport is going to get me there and help me cross. So we have these, and I like to keep them together and put them in a bag, as it is best to keep as organized as possible on the trip, right? I won't be using this bag very often until crossing the border. So on my Minnesota to Texas leg, US area, I'll be using just pretty much my primary wallet. Alright, so moving on to work. I'm going to be working online as I do this trip. This is going to be a trip where I do all of my travels in America on the road without any work, just kind of going camping and checking out the country. Now, when I cross and start my trip through Latin America, beginning in Monterrey in Mexico, I'm going to be starting some work, going to be doing my regular job. Now, what is my regular job? I have been doing online teaching for the past 3 years, and here I have my background for my teaching space. When I start to teach, I'll need the background set up, an extra cable in case I need it for my classes and they have good speeds. I need some extra lights, right? When I'm teaching, I need some good lighting. So I have my lights here, as well as I have this newly purchased laptop, Lenovo Yoga, which has been fantastic so far. This is a fantastic laptop, and I am very happy to have bought it. This is my wireless mouse and an extra USB adapter. Now, this I'll be using to listen and talk to my students while I'm working. Oh, what's alongside the technology I'm bringing for my work? Well, I'm going to bring technology along to make videos, to record videos, and to continue this channel. I have my action camera that I bought, not the GoPro, but an action camera similar to the GoPro that is very basic because I'm a very basic videographer, and I'm just practicing my skills now. I have the kit in order to use as many attachments, put the GoPro onto my body into as many different angles as I can. This is another bag of what I'll be using to attach my GoPro to my helmet and to various areas of my motorcycle or wherever, in order to have different angles and to make my videos as interesting as possible, right? I bought a gimbal. I'm not sure how many people like using gimbals, but I am going to mess around with the stabilizer for my phone. I'm shooting all of my videos on my phone right now, so this is going to be an interesting way to start things up. I'm going to use my gimbal to record when I'm at campsites and where I'm going, walking around cities, and this will be a great way to make the videos smooth and nice from transitioning from place to place. I have an extra cell phone in case I lose my primary phone, and some phone cases to keep it safe. Here I have some earbuds in order to listen to music from time to time, as well as a bunch of extra cables, right? You need the cables in order to charge your phones, your technology, and a massive battery that will be used to charge on the road. So in this section, I think I'm going to be quite different from many adventure motorcyclists, because in my trip, I'm going to be doing a lot of living, working, and discovering a new city as a home base and traveling around that specific area while I'm doing the trip. So this part is going to be a probably much larger portion of my travel kit, of all that I'm packing, because I'm going to be traveling very, very long term and plan to be living in the cities I'll be traveling to. So there will be many different climates, and I need to make sure that I have adequate clothing to at least arrive to these places and not completely freeze or melt. So let's start off with some very light exercise gear. I have some jerseys in order to do some exercise and to stay fresh while I'm exercising, and while in hot climates, it's good to be able to use something that won't completely be drenched after you're finished. Now, being that I'm going to be in different cities, I'm bringing some dress shirts, which I do like wearing in order to go out on the town to discover a new bar or club, or to just look nice for an invitation. For example, if I'm invited to a wedding or invited to go to something in which you should be dressed up somewhat nice at. Now, here is the opposite. I have some shirts that are meant, another 3 pairs of shirts that are meant for the very hot climates. These are the what we call these the white beaters or whatever in America, right? Cutoffs, just like this shirt I'm wearing here, the no money, no honey. Here I have an extra bandana to cover my head when I'm exercising or whenever it's hot, as well as 2 masks, right? We're in a time period in which this pandemic is making life difficult, and having an extra pair of masks. These are 2 masks I brought from Brazil. This will make my life a lot easier, having them very accessible. It is just past solar noon here in Minnesota, and it is getting pretty hot. The humidity is picking up. It is about 3 o'clock p.m., which solar noon is just past 1:30. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna keep on my bandana to make sure I can finish out this video before I do my trip tomorrow. All right, so we're gonna continue on to what we're calling the colder climate clothes here. This will be something very useful for even on colder days. Anything below 75 degrees Fahrenheit. I am feeling quite cold on my trip. I'm feeling quite chilly while driving my bike. So having this available to put on is a very nice thing to have, especially while in mountainous cities and high altitude, low climate areas. Now we have some warm. This is like a sweatshirt and a warmer shirt, right? Those are going to be very useful, and like I said, higher altitude cities that are quite chilly. Let's move on to some regular shirts. I have quite a few shirts actually. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 different regular shirts, which for most motorcycle adventure bloggers are going to say, whoa, come on, what are you doing? 7 shirts, like 1 a day, just in those shirts? Well, when you're living in a new city, you don't want to be doing laundry every single day, and this is something that will prevent that, help me make my daily life a little bit more convenient while I'm staying in these home bases. Now let's move on to the very important part of your attire, right? We need underwear. Come on, we gotta keep fresh, and I have many pairs of underwear, around 7 pairs of underwear there, and I have 3 different pairs of very breathable, very light shorts that are great for exercise or just daily use. These shorts I think will be used quite a bit when I'm using my driving pants. My driving pants are very thick, and they are great for safety while very hot. So this is a great thing to wear because it's very breathable, and it won't be making me super hot with an extra layer on top of the motorcycle driving pants. Here I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pairs of shorts, as it's going to be quite hot going through, specifically starting my trip. It is now mid to late August. It's August 23rd today, and driving further south, the further south I go, the hotter it will be, outside of the mountains. Now, moving on to the pants I have here. I have quite a few pairs of jeans. I might be taking 3 up to 4 pairs, 1, 2, 3, 4, as these are just daily things to wear, and if you're not looking at doing laundry every single day while living in a new city on the way, these are nice to have. All right, moving on to the foot attire and saying hi to Bear. Here behind me we have my beautiful dog Bear, my mommy's dog Bear. Hey Bear! Hey Bear! Okay, so moving on, we have a pair of light shoes, right? I need some light shoes. These are some knockoff Nikes I bought in Medellin, Colombia while living there. Here I have a pair of running shoes that are quite light and comfortable for doing some hiking and doing what name you hear, a pair of sandals, right? You need some flip-flops, something fresh when you're not feeling like putting any shoes on at all. And a nice pair of boots. These are my extra boots actually, in order to have some good motorcycle boots for around the city, in order to not bang up your feet when you're going around. It's good to keep your ankles protected and having some good steel-toed shoes while riding. Now that we have all that I'm going to be taking along, organized and shown in all of these different sections, I'm going to be showing you what I'm putting these in. Now, I have a duffel bag that will be going right behind me on the passenger seat. This duffel bag is going to be carrying mostly my camping supplies, and it's going to be carrying some extra things that won't fit into these hard case panniers or side bags. These hard case side bags. Right here I have the back bag, which will be used for a lot of electronics and a lot of things I want to keep safe. These are lockable cases. They're hard case, which means if they fall off, they won't damage what's inside very much as long as there's enough padding inside. And they have a lock which will be used with my key. Now, I have a pannier, a side pannier here, and a side pannier here. Two side panniers, which have kind of a strange size, a strange shape. It's not an actual box, right? It kind of looks like a little boat or a little bullet, right? And it is a very odd and awkward thing to pack, but this is the standard Honda hard bags that come along with the bike. So I decided to take advantage of these and see how these will work with my trip. Of course, while doing any trip on a vehicle, you want to have some tools. So I have some tools. I have a shitty tire pressure gauge just in case my good tire gauge, which is a digital tire gauge right here, does not work, right? I have the two possible gauges. They're very small, so it's easy to carry two. I have some screwdrivers with different heads, an Allen wrench, a set of Allen wrench, different sizes, motor oil that will be useful on the trip, right? To make sure to top up the engine oil when there is not enough, and some chain lube to lube up the chain before I start the trip and as I go along. There's going to be an oil fluid funnel. You'll definitely need this to put in any last minute oil. So I'm going to keep this along in the front pouch, the front area. A good thing to have along is an extra pair of keys, right? Here is an extra pair that I have not been using, and I hope that I won't be using at all. I plan not to use them the entire trip. Keeping your documents, right? This is a document for the bike specifically, right? I don't keep this with the other travel documents or my wallet because this is specifically for my bike. I keep this in the front pouch there, in the front compartment. Here I have a pair of sunglasses, which I do have a couple pairs inside, which I don't have out, so I should have 2 or 3 pairs to bring along. What's a very important part of any trip? Making sure you are rain proof, right? This is a rain jacket to put over my leather jacket. Now, most adventure motorcyclists are not going to be using a regular leather jacket. My first trip, and then along with this, as well as this trip, I'm going to be using just a standard leather jacket. This is a present from my friend Tom Peterson. Straight up to you, my man. He gave these to me, and this is a fantastic coat for my trip. Now, as I mentioned before, I'm going to be wearing a specific pair of motorcycle pants. These pants are rainproof. They have some knee pads and hip pads. They are great to keep yourself safe in case of a spill, and they are waterproof. They are great to have around, and I'm going to be wearing these every day on all my long daily trips. Driving in under 75-degree weather, 75 Fahrenheit, for me is quite complicated. I'm kind of what you would call a pussy. So when it comes to making a long trip with cold weather and cool air constantly entering into the bottom of my helmet, which is a very common thing. When you wear a helmet, there is some small openings where cold wind, cold air will fly into, especially at higher speeds. And having something so simple as a scarf, right? Not the manliest thing, but it's something to keep your neck and keep the cold air from outside from going into your helmet. And if you're doing a 3, 4, 6 hour day, 8 hour day, 10 hour day, you don't want your ears to be frozen for 98% of that time, do you? No. So here I have the shoes for my long trips. These are some big boots, very heavy duty, steel-toed, and have a nice gear changing pad right here to make sure not to damage the boots when constantly going up and down, right, changing the gears. They are a very nice pair that I bought from a place called Cycle Gear in Minneapolis, in Maple Grove, and they are Reacts, very nice brand. I'm pretty happy about this purchase here. Now, let's go on to tying everything down. This is going to be a big knot of bungee cord. I have four 4-foot bungee cords and two 2-foot bungee cords, right? So the 2-foot bungee cords, those will be nice to probably tie down my sleeping mat, and the extra long ones will be used for getting the bigger areas tied down specifically afterwards, right? So it's good to have a couple different sizes just in case you want to tie down something separately. This is going to be quite useful for the trip. All right, in terms of safety, one thing I pointed out with these Honda stock hard bags is that they have a nice key and lock situation right here. Right, I can put in the key and lock it onto the bike, as I will show you when I put them on. Same for the other side hard case pannier right here, locked on with the motorbike key. This is the back case, the hard case on the back, which also is locked on with the motorbike key as well. Let's pack it up. Taking a look at the equipment that we'll be installing onto the bike, we have the duffel bag, the sleeping mat, the hard case on the back, and the two side panniers, the two side hard cases. We'll take the tools and put them in the front pouch, in the front storage, and this will be worn on the trip. So let's take it to the bike here. Here we have Brown. Hey Brown, Brown. One thing that's very important to taking into consideration when loading your bike and putting certain luggage onto certain luggage mounts is to check the maximum weight capacity. The back of my bike holds 10 kilos, 22 pounds, and on the side bags, they hold about 10 kilos each as well. We have 10, 10, 10, and the bike in total has a maximum capacity of, I think, 400 pounds or 430 pounds, like 290 kilos or whatever it is, or 200 kilos. So keep those into consideration. A nice portable scale is very helpful for that. I've already weighed my back case at, let's take a look. This one had a weight of 9 kilos, so 1 kilo under the maximum capacity. We have the two pannier bags here, each one with about 10 kilo maximum capacity as well. This one is 8 kilos, and this one is a little bit heavier with my laptop in it. This one is 9 kilos. Alright, so we have these bags and as well the duffel bag and sleeping mat. So let's load it up. Now for this part, I'm going to use 4 bungee cords, 1 pair for each part of my luggage that I want to strap down securely. This is going to be the 2-foot bungee cord pair. Alright, they're real short, the shorter ones. And these are 4 feet extendable. Well, these are 4 feet bungee cords that can extend and shorten. And I shorten them so that I can put the maximum amount of pull and force on them when I put on the sleeping mat in order to loosen it and get the maximum grip. So we'll start with the first part, which will be the heavier part. You want to put the heavier stuff closer to the ground as much as you can. Putting heavier stuff higher is a recipe for disaster. Also, you want to keep a very soft thing, something very soft, right behind your back to use as support. This is going to be basically your back support, your cushion, you're touching your back at all times when you ride. So I'm going to use the 2-foot bungee cord, and I'm going to attach this to here, which are the back bars, and I'm going to wrap this one around diagonally. Wrap this one around my duffel bag, and around the back here, and over the top, under the bottom, and secure. There we go. I have the one side 2, the back here, same as before, but on the other side. Start in the back here, put it around the back over top. If you have a duffel bag like mine, keep the straps wrapped inside, or else they'll be flapping around in the wind. Okay, keep on pulling this one around at the top and to the back like the first one. This gives maximum pull, and very secure, very nicely put on, and very tight. Those 2 feet bungee cords are best for something very heavy and something big like this duffel bag. It has a lot of moving parts in it, so it's good to keep it as firmly secure as possible, whereas this sleeping mat is very light. And as I tie this one down, I'm going to kind of gauge how much of this I actually need. As I tie this one down, put it on the back, just like the other, underneath the duffel bag, and see how it is. So at the moment, it is snug-ish, but let's put on the second cord. Bungee cord around the back, just as before. And over the top, underneath here. Alright, so now time to feel it up. Put it on its. So this one feels a little bit loose. It's very tight. This one's good. So I want to tighten this one up. And of course, tuck in any extra cord. And voila, the outer portion is complete. I have my backrest, sleeping mat, the side bag and back bag on. On the Honda NC 700X, there is a compartment in the front of the seat in a place where it's mostly designed for a helmet. But since my helmet does not fit, which is a little disappointing, it is nice to have a place to keep your helmet that can close and keep it secure without having to worry about thieves taking them, which has already happened to me on my previous trip, as I was in a city called in Chiapas, in a mountain city there, and a thief took my helmet off the back. So what I have now is a lock that goes right here, and I just lock it on top here, which is great. Alright, so with this compartment open, with no helmet fitting inside, it's time to pack it up. Now, what should we put inside? Well, we should definitely have tools. We should have our Honda manual, our instructions for how to fix anything properly with the proper tools and the proper parts. Your insurance, automobile insurance, your title, definitely very important. Tire gauge, check that pressure. I have 2 tire gauges, one normal and one nicer one. Here's a chain loop you definitely want to have with you, or definitely be doing often. some engine oil that I'll be adding in the trip. Here we have a filter, right, a fluid funnel that will be a easy access for the motor oil, the engine oil, when I put it in later. As we know, as I've realized in the past with my bungee cord snapping on my previous trip, it's always good to have some extra bungee cords. They will be useful in the situation where yours aren't useful anymore if they break, right? An extra mask is good to keep in front. Maybe with the clothes is better, but it is something to keep around. An action camera is good to have nearby, and to have something easy access here, for example, in this front compartment is good. This is a very large external battery. I can use to charge my phone, charge my all of my equipment, and basically if you forget to put something in your main luggage and you just want to throw it in here, that's an easy way to take care of the rest of your packing, right? It's good to have water. I have this like 1 liter jug of water that I always can fill up at gas stations and fill on the way. It's a great way to force yourself into taking lots of breaks, stretch, and get more water. I have a lock in case I need to lock something down. I was using this for my helmet in the past, and can use it for a future helmet if I get another one for a passenger or whatever. Here is the weight, the scale I use to make sure all of my bags are not too heavy for their mounts. Some extra random things to use on my recordings, and most of them just belong in some other bags, but it's when you're at the end of your packing, you're tired, you just kind of throw everything together. Right? Extra keys, very useful. Okay, here's an extra phone case to put on the phone mount I have right here. A nice RAM mounts X grip, which fits snugly in here and does not come out. It's very good. And of course the tools that fell out. And yeah, if you want to keep earbuds for what you're listening to, keep that all in the air, right? And there it is. That is what you have going on. I have all my stuff packed and I'm ready to rock. Go inside.